Imagine this, you're out on a morning run and you start feeling that deep, nagging pain in your buttock again. Every step is uncomfortable, but you tell yourself, it's fine, it'll loosen up once I warm up. If this sounds familiar, you might be dealing with high hamstring tendinopathy, and running through the pain could be the worst decision you'll make in your running career. More than 60% of runners with high hamstring tendinopathy will re-injure themselves within a year. That's a huge number, and it happens because most runners don't realize how serious this condition can be if ignored. So, how do you know if you might have it? Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel a deep pain in your buttock or at the top of your thigh at the back when you run? Does sitting for long periods make the ache worse? Does speed work or hills leave your hamstring screaming for hours afterwards? If you answered yes to any of these, keep watching. I'll explain what's happening inside those hamstrings, why running makes it worse, and what you can do to recover and get back to running pain-free. But let's start with what high hamstring tendinopathy actually is. Your hamstrings connect to your sit bones through a tough, rope-like tendon, which plays a huge role in your running mechanics. Those hamstrings are so important in all phases of your running gait, but every single stride puts those tendons under an incredible amount of stress, especially during intense workouts. When your tendons are overloaded, they go through various different stages of injury, starting with a reactive tendinopathy. This is your body's way of protecting the tendon by making it swell and stiffen in order to start recovering from a degree of overload. At this stage, the tendon is laying down extra tissue to start the healing process. You might feel a slight stiffness or dull ache after a run, but the damage is still reversible if you take action. If you don't, the tendon progresses to a phase called disrepair. At this point, the tissue starts to break down, and the fibers inside the tendon become a little bit more disorganized and weak. Think of it like a rope that's starting to fray. The pain becomes sharper and more constant, and it might show up even during easy runs or while sitting for long periods. If you keep ignoring it, things progress to a degenerative tendinopathy. At this stage, parts of the tendon have completely broken down and have been replaced by scar tissue or fatty deposits. When a tendon becomes degenerative, it's weak and stiff and at risk of tearing completely. And here's the scary part. Damaged parts of the tendon don't have as many nerve endings, so you might not feel the pain until it's too late. For runners, the consequences are huge. A degenerative tendon is much more likely to rupture, which could sideline you for months or even require surgery. But here's the good news, you don't have to let it get to that point. Whether you're in a reactive or disrepair stage, or even if you've been dealing with chronic pain for months, recovery is totally possible. If you're ready to start fixing this issue right away, I've created a free high hamstring tendinopathy rehab cheat sheet to walk you through the steps step by step. It's packed with tips to modify your training, reduce pain, and start strengthening your hamstrings safely. The link is in the description below, so grab it now to get back on track. So, how do you recover and protect your hamstrings? The first step is to reduce hill running and speed work, as these put the most stress on those hamstring tendons. Next, modify your training variables. Shorten your runs, reduce your weekly mileage, and stick to flat, softer surfaces where possible. Give those tendons less strain to have to handle while they heal. Try running in the afternoon instead of the morning. It sounds silly, but your body is naturally a little bit warmer, a little bit more flexible later in the day, which reduces stress on those tendons. And finally, start strengthening your hamstrings. Rehab exercises like isometric hamstring bridges or Nordic hamstring curls are excellent for rebuilding strength and resilience in the tendon. Rehab doesn't happen overnight, but with consistency, these steps will help you heal. Combine these strategies with the plan in the cheat sheet, and you'll be back running pain-free sooner than you think. Check out the video on screen right now because there are a bunch of huge mistakes that runners make with high hamstring tendinopathy that slow their return to running pain-free. Chances are you're making at least one of them. I'll see you over there.